All right, next one we're going to talk about it's my Georgia Bulldogs at the Auburn Tigers. Georgia is a 14.5 point favorite. The over under is at 47. It has crept down just a bit. This is one of my best bets of the week, but it's not UGA minus the 14.5. No, 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 no. UGA has yet to cover a spread this year. I will not be betting on that. I'm taking the under, and I got it at 47.5. Um, so if that hook means a lot to you, then buy the hook down or buy it back up. You could buy that and probably sacrifice, you know, minus, 0, 1, 10 on your money return and get that hook. So if that's something that bothers you, well, I know a lot of people have their key numbers that they try to stick to. Um, but in this case, the hook helped me. So look, UGA has started slow every single week this year. They started, I feel like, a little bit faster last week. Second quarter, they got things going, but just about every other game this year, it's been the third quarter before they've got anything going. And I heard somebody talking about it today. Talking about the clock and things like that, and it is running a little bit faster. I think you're going to start seeing more teams take the ball when they win the coin toss at the beginning of the game. I think eventually you're going to see that because what happens is a team will get the ball and they get a couple first downs, 3, 4 first downs. 7 minutes has gone off the clock, and your offense is probably only getting 1 or 2 possessions in that first quarter. And those are the hardest drives to stop. Are always the first drives of the game because they're all scripted. Um, so anyway, with all that being said, I think UGA always defers to the second half, always. Um, and I know it sounds crazy and it sounds something minute, but I think they need to stop doing that. And I think they need to take the ball and they need to go down there and score. But with all that being said, they've started slow this year. Auburn does not have a good offense. So I'm taking the under here. Very simple thought process on that. Um, you know, Auburn's defense has played, I think, surprisingly well. This is a really good secondary, and I think Georgia is going to have to be able to establish the run game, which has been a little bit of a weakness, but something that they've really improved upon the last couple of weeks. What do you think about our Georgia Bulldogs as I pull up some of these stats?
Yeah, I mean, okay, Georgia's favored by 14.5 points. They got to go play at Jordan Hare, which is a very tough environment to play at in the SEC. I could see it going in Georgia's favor just because I think that Auburn's really trying to figure things out. And they're under a new system with Hugh Freeze. I could see this being a closer game and kind of a 10-point game. I could see Georgia having to come back from behind and, kind of winning it in the second half. But I could also see Georgia just overpowering them and figuring things out on offense. I thought that Carson Beck last week took a step in the right direction, especially in that second half. Really, the second quarter on, he played much better. Threw for a high of 336 yards, and he missed a 60-yard pass. Really could have been over 400 yards pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And had some drops that I think they had 3 drops on the day. So there are some things to like about the UGA offense and the way that it's moving forward. On the other hand, Auburn, I feel like if Auburn had a third quarterback, they'd play him right now, and he's just not there. Right? They got 2 guys. If they had the quarterback stable that Alabama has, we'd be talking about how they're playing 3 quarterbacks as well. So,
Yeah.
I think that they're kind of scrambling to figure things out to try to. It's almost like going into the kitchen and, it's the day before you go grocery shopping and you're trying to put dinner together, and you're just trying to see if something can taste right. Right. But I think that they're struggling to really
Fish sticks and whole kernel corn.
That's right. That's anytime you add corn in the mix, you got a balanced meal. Right. But I think that that's what they're trying to do is just kind of throw something together and see if it sticks. The other angle that I'm looking at is, Hugh Freeze has actually been really successful against Kirby Smart's defenses.
Yeah.
going back to his time at Ole Miss and Kirby's time at Alabama. Does that play into this game at all? Um, I just don't think. I think when you look at it, I don't think that Auburn has the horses to keep up with Georgia in any way. I would take Georgia to cover the 14.5 points if I were to place a bet on this. I don't like betting for or against my own team because there is a bias built in. I
Yeah.
know so much about the Georgia team and less about every other team in college football, like every college football fan does.
Yeah.
But it adds a little bit of a challenge, I think, when it comes to betting. And also the last time I felt good about a bet was South Carolina, and Georgia didn't cover on that one.
Yeah.
So you know,
Well,
um,
I, I hear everything you're saying. And I've thought exactly the same thoughts that you've thought, but I keep coming back to this. How is Auburn going to score? It's going to take a trick play, probably to score a touchdown. I'm thinking in this game, I don't see Auburn, driving 80 yards to score on Georgia's defense. I just don't see it. Maybe a field goal here, maybe a field goal there, but it's going to take a couple of turnovers, setting up a short field for Auburn, and Auburn hitting a trick play or two or three, and that's the kind of day that it's going to be. There, Auburn's going to have to hit a couple of trick plays, maybe get a couple of turnovers, um, maybe go for it on fourth down a couple times and get it. I think that it's that type of game because unless they have some luck on their side, man, this offense just ain't good enough. It's just
yeah,
not good enough, and I think they can get a few first downs on this Georgia defense, but I don't see them pushing them down the field. And so it keeps bringing me back to, okay, even if Georgia scores 7 points in the first half, I think they'll be leading at halftime. If there's an over under on Auburn's first half points, and I'm going to check it right around game time. I think it's probably under. It's got to be under 7.
it's not posted yet, so
No, yeah, and it won't post probably till
I think the
Saturday.
the team totals for the first half for both teams is 23.5.
For both teams. And I could see Georgia being up 14-7, or honestly, I just think under all the way is the play on this game.
Yeah,
I can't see a world where this game goes over unless all of a sudden Georgia just figures it out and they just bomb this Auburn defense. And this game just don't never play out like that.
yeah.
It just really never plays out like that. So
Not at Jordan Hare either. It's
I
going to
I
be a loud environment. Carson Beck's going to be a little startled, I believe,
I've been
starting
thinking
out.
all week 28-7.
Okay.
I've been thinking all week Georgia wins this game 28-7. And I could see 28-10,
Hmm.
being a possibility, or maybe even 28-14. If they get what I said, a trick play, something like that.
Yeah.
I feel really, really good about the under in this game.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take a look at halftime, um, per team unders and things like that. And if you're actually interested in betting on this game, that seems like more of the play to me because I wouldn't play Georgia to cover with 14 and a hook. If it was 14, I'd play it.
Yeah. So, and one thing, that really stopped me from betting the under like you did at 47 is just looking at last week where they gave up 21 to UAB.
Yeah,
And that's really what gave me some pause. They've got some guys out. I'm not sure the status of Michael Williams. I'm not sure the status of Bullard.
right.
I don't know if those are two very key playmakers that Georgia needs. They've got a few that have been out all year. Really, they're really hurting for players, and it makes me a little uncertain about the defense and whether or not they're going to hold up. To completely shut Auburn out. Now they could, but I look at that UAB game and I go, man, we really miss Bullard. We really miss Michael. We're still missing TID in the middle. There's a lot to look at and scratch your head at. But if you factor in the injuries, which is not an excuse to play poorly, but it kind of changes your lines a little bit, and it's tough to account for that, which is Another reason for me to stay away from it, but I think that under would be the play here if I were to bet on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I think it'll hit. Auburn, I'm telling you, Cal held them to 14 points.
Yeah.
And I'm just not a believer in this Auburn team whatsoever. And we're going to see on Saturday. I'm going to be at Auburn fans' house. What's up, Brett? Love you, buddy. See you Saturday.
Who knows? Maybe UAB has a better offense than Auburn. Maybe UAB.
I didn't want to say that in the video, but dude, you might be right.
Yeah.
And because I know that quarterback, the quarterback that played for UAB was the same quarterback that Georgia played against, that played for Baylor when Georgia played Baylor in that bowl game a few years ago. Zeno
sounds like a good fruit infused water, like a sparkling water or something.
NIL opportunity.
Yeah.
Right there. Get your Zeno water today.
Get your Zeno with 0 calories. There you go.